Today I went to the endodontist to get a root canal. As he was about to give me a numbing shot, he found out that the internet was down. He said I can't do anything until the internet is back up. So I am patiently waiting around for them to resolve the issue. I could hear they were trying to talk with IT support. After some time, I tell the dentist, I am a software engineer. Perhaps I can help? Sure. He shows me, he had a server where he stores patient data. He had 3 patient rooms with computers connecting to this server. The internet wasn't really down. The clients just weren't able to connect to the server. He allowed me to touch the computers. I checked, and was able to successfully ping the server from the client computers. So what's going on? I watched the IT person remotely try to use the software. I noticed they are trying to connect to it using a domain name. I check, is the domain pointing to the right IP? No, it isn't. I get the software to connect to the IP. This works. The doctor happily thanks me and gives me the numbing shot. Then a minute later, the software stops using the IP. Something in it remembered the old server name. They went back to their IT guy trying to fix it. With my numbed mouth, I went ahead and just updated the host's file on all the computers to point the domain to the IP number. This worked. They did the root canal. The dentist thanked me, said he was going to close for the day if not for me. They didn't charge me the $250 copay for the root canal. I left a note for the IT guy that was supposed to come the next day, about what I did, and my suggestions about what he should do next. Wish every issue in life was this simple to resolve. Where I work, I cannot really complain about users. They do some silly things, but most are fully aware of their computer illiteracy and come to us before breaking things further. It creates more work for my team, but that additional work keeps my team in their jobs, meaning I can stay away from support and focus on system administration, engineering, integration and automation, vendor relations. If anything, by far the worst person I have to deal with is a member of my team. Or had to deal with, I should say. Prior to working for the company, this person claimed to be a full-stack .NET developer, but wanted to move into system administration and engineering, so took a job in IT support. This didn't make sense to me until few months later when I realized the full-stack .NET developer thing was likely a lie. They had taken a look at a PowerShell script I was writing and asked me what a for loop was and didn't recognize a .NET array list class. But that's another story. And I'll refer to this person as $fullstack from now on. Maybe 6 months into $fullstack's time with the company, I sent an email out to the department to say that I had automated an administrative task that was previously performed manually, so they wouldn't need to keep coming to my team with related requests. After I sent the email, $fullstack came over to me and said that looks more interesting than what I do, can I learn to do it too? I said sure, PowerShell is an invaluable tool in your line of work, if you have any questions about it, I'll gladly answer them. I also told them that their experience with .NET would give them a head start. Of course, I strongly believed that their experience with .NET was a fabrication, but maybe I could have been wrong. $fullstack then asked me if they could take a day off each week to learn PowerShell. I said no. I explained that they should be able to learn PowerShell on the job and suggested that, whenever they did something manually, find out afterwards how they could have performed the task using PowerShell. Then evaluate whether it would have been faster to have initially performed the task using PowerShell so they know whether or not they should solve the issue next time manually or with PowerShell. This was how I learned PowerShell, and it's how many people I know learned it too. I've always been of the opinion that you learn faster through applying than studying the theory. And, while there's a place for studying theory in your learning journey, nay, it's essential. But studying theory and applying practically should be done side by side, and there were plenty of opportunities $fullstack to apply PowerShell to his daily work. So I set some ground rules. Get commandlets are fine, set, disable, remove, and the like should be used with caution. Test with a what-if flag before you use any of these. If you're making a change on a system like add or exchange, rather than a client endpoint, check with me before running anything other than a get commandlet. These rules were sent to $fullstack by email, and I asked them to reply to the email to confirm that they understood them. Given I was ultimately responsible for anything $fullstack did, I had to cover myself. And things seemed to go well, At first, Full Stack came to me excited when they realized they could query whether an account was locked or when a password was last changed using getAdUser. I suggested they write a script that prompts the operator to enter a username using read host, and then passes this into the getAdUser command, so they didn't need to manually type it out in the console every time. Then we had an issue with the internal Wi-Fi adapters on some laptops randomly disabling themselves, and Full Stack showed me how they could open a PowerShell console as administrator and use getNetAdapter and then enable NetAdapter to fix the issue, without having to log the user out and then log in as admin to do it. Great job, Full Stack. I knew you could do this already, but I figured I'd give Full Stack this little victory. But then, a few weeks later Full Stack deleted around 50 computer objects from Active Directory while I was on lunch. As I had been on lunch, the issue had been escalated to the server team, and my manager had gotten involved. We were incredibly fortunate that it had happened on this particular week, not the previous one, as the Active Directory recycle bin had only just been enabled. During the post-mortem, it was discovered what they had done. It turned out they had used equals in an if statement instead of ek, so the conditional statement always resolved as true. It appeared as though Full Stack never ran the script with what if to see which computers would be deleted, and, as Full Stack was running a command against Active Directory rather than a client endpoint, they should have checked with me before running it anyway. A small meeting was held between me, my manager, the head of the server team, and Full Stack. When quizzed about why they hadn't used what if or checked with anyone before running the script, Full Stack claimed they were never told about what if and that I had never told them they needed to check with me before running commands against ad. The eyes in the room turned to me as I went through my email to find the rules I had set, that Full Stack had acknowledged. I sent forwarded the email to the participants of the meeting. Full Stack tried to make excuses, that I hadn't explained it properly, etc., etc., and so we asked Full Stack to leave the room. Me and my manager had originally agreed before the meeting that we would likely give Full Stack a light slap on the wrist. The mistake occurred over lunch, the impact to end users were minimal, we all make mistakes, etc., and we didn't want to discourage their journey on the path of PowerShell, but we also didn't want the same mistakes happening again. But when Full Stack decided to lie, instead of accepting their mistake, they received a written warning for this incident and we banned them from using PowerShell against ad after that. And, unfortunately, as Full Stack had only been hired on a one-year contract and there were 3 months until it was up, we decided not to extend it when the contract came to an end. There were obviously other contributors to this decision, but this one is probably the one that sealed Full Stack's fate. We had a customer come in with an old beige desktop, and requested that it be recycled and the data on it destroyed. He said he had tried it himself but still wanted to be sure it was gone for good. A bit of an odd request, but another old box for me to mess around with once we're done, so fine by me. He signs the paperwork and heads off. I take the machine to the bench and hear something rattling around inside. Upon opening the case, I immediately laugh my ass off. His idea of data destruction was to rip the heatsink, CPU, and socket directly off the motherboard and leave it hanging. The power and IDE cables to the drives had been cut with scissors as well. The HDDs were untouched. So a user called to complain that a personal email he gets from his golf club had a link in it, and when he clicked that link it didn't work because our firewall blocked it. And what was I going to do about it? I work for a company that runs the public transport network BTW. So I replied that given we don't have a bus route that includes the 18th hole, I wasn't going to do anything about it. That's when I had the first inkling I might be in trouble. He says I don't want to pull rank, and he proceeds to tell me that everyone checks personal email at work and he's been getting these golf club emails for a long time and he's not happy that this one is blocked. But I'm a slow learner and reiterate that it's not really worth looking into given it's not work related. Then I guess the "what's your name, I'm going to take this higher" speech. Turns out he's the guy in the big chair for one of our departments. So I wrote a full explanation email to my boss and now I'm waiting for the fallout. How entitled do you have to be though? The guy admits it's not work related but he still wants me to sort it out. We're short-staffed, I've got a inbox full of actual work to do, so I pushed back without knowing who I was talking to, and now I'm probably going to regret it. Oh well, c'est la vie.